Well, here we have it. There's only a couple of games left here now. We're past the halfway mark. We're jumping in to the late stages of this grand finals. And if you're Bach and Pars, I think you're pretty happy with this bus here because it's going to favor their side. It's going to allow them to touch down and, again, likely play into their strengths, which seems to be dropping down and besting Aaron to the punch here in Chance. Chance is going to be a lot higher than Pars is, and Bach and Aaron are right there neck and neck. And look at this. Pars with the perfect drop here. Gets the weapon first, gets the finish as well. And again, all because the battle bus is closer to their drop, is there's less variability involved. They could just time it better, right? The little things really start to show you what teams are stronger, what teams have more strengths in certain areas, and Bach and Pars are taking full advantage of being contested right now when a lot of teams don't. A lot of teams crumble when they're contested, but not this duo.
No, Baka and Pars proving yet again they knew heading into today that it was going to be a scrappy one. But given how day one went for them up against the likes of Chance, Aaron, and several other teams, because if Baka and Pars aren't quick finding one or both of those eliminations off the Chance and Aaron, we've seen numerous times already the third party action, the fourth party, even the fifth party, Baka and Pars both attesting to the fact that they were essentially getting pentaconned at their drop all day yesterday, so bound to have made the proper adjustments. Seeing them go 3-0 on the day so far, though, it's got to be a huge confidence swing for sure. And confidence is something that Batman Booga is going to need a lot of. Operating as a solo currently, lost Rapid relatively early on over by the Research Rock, and it's Dalty, it's Skater, trying to just finalize the second half of what they started. They get this elimination quickly enough onto Batman Booga. It could open up Dalty and Skater for a little bit of an easier time positioning through the mid game because of the surge damage that they'd be able to acquire right now.
Well, the action continues here. Dalty is on the move here, playing around the outskirts. Batman Booga doesn't recognize he's there, but does throw the walls down. Dalty plays it smart as well. Couple cones there. It's all textbook here, but because they have no tags, Batman Booga and Rapid are going to get out of there. But Rapid, of course, is down and out. So since he can't do anything big, it's a full-on disengage right now.
Some teams fighting untold struggles here today. But for Cooper and Miro, it's all about just locking in. That seems to be the mentality for Cooper. As things continue, progress a little bit slower here by Pleasant Piazza. Cooper right now hanging out beachside, farming out some of the chests in the sand. He is relatively split though from Mira, but with basically no population nearby, it's a safe split to continue their loot path.
Got Reet and Ritual here at the railways, but there's a team moving about their drop as well. So they do have to be extremely cautious right now. Danger ever so lurking close by. It's just one of those things where you never really know who's going to decide to do something a little bit different, adjust their strats. It's Pump and Sphinx who's encroaching on their territory, but now we jump in with Acorn and Cold here. Not looking to make the same mistakes they made last time up against Muzz and Paper. But instead, it's Mason and Aaron who seem to have a position advantage over them.
But see, all these teams at Fencing Fields, it's like a very steady rotation process between the teams located at Fencing and then the teams that are coming out of Ruined Reels. We've seen a handful of times now where Bacon and TK are two of the more prevalent players that have a tendency to try and rotate towards Fencing, see if they can pick up any last-minute battles, last-minute surge. Cold and Acorn, though, will make the first attempt. So they'll at least lock down the Society Medallion from Nisha. They've got the Vault Keycard, they've got the Mythic Striker. Now all Cold and Acorn realistically need to do is prevent anyone else from forcing them into a solo situation. They know that they've got to worry about Empen and Mason lurking nearby.
Back on over to Bugha and Aviv here on the south portion of the map. The zone's going to favor them this time. And that's going to be nice for them here, as we know they're a team that plays well regardless of the situation, but...
I think he's got enough shield potions.
Yeah, they just keep dropping out. Like, what's going on?
Bugha almost looking like a loot llama there for a second. How much shield he had. And shield, man, that's something Clix and Epic could use. But after confirming 2 eliminations to start off game number 10 pretty hot here, Clix has been playing out of his mind, by the way, for day number 2. But what I would like to see, MDF, is Epic matching that same pacing, matching that same standard that Clix has been operating with here today. He's the 6th time, after all. Clix doesn't have any FNCS titles of his own. He wants to find the first one here today, if possible. But it starts with Epic, honestly, needing to rise to the occasion, because Clix has been holding things down pretty heavily here today.
Look at their HP. 3 HP on Clix. Epic damage. We jump in with Paper and Muzz right now. We're getting active here. Edgy on the run. Where's Tavern? Likely in the elimination count of Paper. He's just going for it, but the risk. He gets sent flying there by the crash pad. I have to assume that is basically mistakes were made, and you have to wonder, the sniper in hand, what all happened here? No scope needed. Oh my gosh, through the bush.
Probably the last thing that Edgy and Tavern would have expected, because it's not usually a guarantee that Paper and Muzz will even have a Reaper sniper available. Fencing Fields, if you don't get it as floor loot, Muzz and Paper, we haven't seen them really go directly for the vault here at Fencing. It's like they're down to try and find eliminations if possible, but they don't really seem all that invested as far as challenging for the vault is concerned. So the fact that Paper even has that sniper available to play with, that's likely going to make up the bulk of Muzz and Paper's surge strategy here in game number 10.
The vault's going to start to open here. It's going to give the signal to the lobby, and I'm just keeping an eye on where those players are moving. It doesn't seem like they're going to be moving inwards right now. And Baka and Pars, very interesting rotation they make. They go straight north up the beach, looking to finish things where they started with Chance and Aaron. And we kind of saw this before, where they would quite confidently chase a team up the outskirts of the map, regardless of where it positioned them. It seems like that might have been the case here. And this, oh, and now that I think about it, Taka, remember last time how they caught that storm sickness? It was probably because something like this or another. In the storm, just like this, yup.
This feels more personal than necessary, as Baka won't get the better end of the exchange either. Aaron and Chance, they were scot-free from Baka and Pars. Baka and Pars then chose to force the situation, not satisfied with that initial elimination they've been able to achieve to start things off here. And Aaron and Chance, the fact that they were able to turn that one around on Baka and Pars, a team that was in heavy contention for the top 5, mind you, that's going to be a very steep price to pay for Baka and Pars now, something that they might reflect on later here today. But first, got to see how the rest of this match plays out. And for Peterbot and Pollo, another box fight over the cash. But Peterbot, Pollo, they've got Xavi and Neko on the back foot here. Xavi and Neko don't really seem all that confident in trying to take this engagement up against the likes of Peterbot and Pollo, probably recognizing the fact that, hey, these guys are good at the way that they're holding them back inside these box fights.
Well, things are looking pretty tough right now for everyone here on the outskirts, as they're going to have to rotate right through Peterbot and Pollo. One thing I am noticing, though, is that Peterbot's about halfway through his material, so not the best spot to be in. this early in the game. He's eyeing up, seems like Mirror up there. But on the other side, a lot of action still unfolding here. Vive with the sniper in hand, and man, players gotta be careful not putting those walls up. It's just no other way to put it other than you kind of deserve the shot that comes in if you're that exposed and someone sneaks up on the side of you, by the way, and you don't recognize them coming. It's a pretty tough spot to be in.
But at the same time, I almost can't fault Dasharuni for that one. It gets incredibly easy. For even a second, a lapse in judgment, that's really all it takes. And Aviv, he's definitely been a very heavy player off of this Reaper Sniper whenever he has it available to him. Being supported by Bugha as well. And now Bugha Aviv with that confirmation of limb. Ample surge damage applied. So we're gonna tap back in over to Clix and Epic Whale's point of view, and max materials, very solid ammunition as far as Clix's loadout is concerned. 6 flowberries in tow as well as a grapple blade, so mobility definitely not an issue here, but it hardly ever is for Clix and Epic, given that they drop over by Lavish Lair, essentially guaranteed some of the best forms of mobility from that POI.
Sniper still in hand here for Clix right now. These 2 eliminations looking pretty nice right now. Ooh, Bila in the building here. Has to be careful. This is just so dangerous with this sniper, and this is why he has, again, some of the highest damage output that we've seen here amongst all players this weekend. Look at this. Death and Polarize sitting right up on top of Muzz and Paper's bases here. Oh, but they're going to rotate. They don't even want to remain near these teams here. Very interesting. Oh. What's your take on this?
Well, currently, Death soaring through the skies without Polarize. Hopefully, Polarize is able to run that one back. And yeah, sure enough, will reunite with Death. Very fortunate that they were in a position where no one in the lobby had really started to build up. Area hasn't been super condensed just yet, but the fact that Death and Polarize did start to make the approach over towards where Vert and Yuumi were boxed up. And it's a battle currently next to the Ruin Reels. Bound to draw some attention now with how many shots are being fired here. A lot of materials being spent as well. Death looking relatively low on his mat count, a lot lower than what you would want to be for the approaching point of a mid-game.
And of course, they're going to get the big sniper shot there. And one thing I just want to mention, as we kind of go through this quick highlight here, Peterbot pushes up onto Redux, and Day, who had full control here of the Rift Island first, and then hits the most disgusting sniper shot. Peterbot is just a walking highlights reel this weekend. At this rate, if he wins the FNCS Grand Finals this weekend, he will have one of the craziest montages and reactions I think we've ever seen a duo put on. So I'm at a loss for words. I had a thought to finish about the previous duo. It doesn't even matter anymore.
Easy for things to slip the mind, but Reed, he's trying not to let game number 10 slip away from him. Nice knock onto G-Money. Will buy him a little bit of time here. Tries to go for the medkit pop, but comes under pressure yet again. It's Cold and Acorn on the side of his box now. Diego plays G-Money, recognizing the fact that there is now a third party introduced towards this box fight engagement. Ritual not revived just yet. Reed was trying to stick it, but
this is
Cold
crazy.
Acorn, they just recognize the fact, no, this is a team that's operating now as a solo. They're gonna chase down Reed, and for good reason, because Cold and Acorn, not only will it just be another 6 points towards the elimination count, but this is part of their competition for that first place position.
And that's it. They know exactly that. Looking at the feed gives them all the information they need. They see the elimination come in, they see the name pop up, and they immediately alter their demeanor. They change their entire game plan right there, and they key down Reed without even thinking twice about it. Their immediate competition is out, And look at how things are aligning right now for Acorn, 2X, and Cold.
It's almost like the stars are definitely aligning for this duo here today.
Crazy. At this rate, like, can Peterbot and Pollo stop them? I mean, Peterbot, like I mentioned, is a running highlight reel right now. But their play style, what they've been doing is a lot more volatile, right? Much more like a tug of war. It's back and forth. They're explosive. They take risk where sometimes you might think it's not even needed. They're definitely different.
Peterbot's mentality 99% of the time just seems to essentially boil down to, I think I'm better than you.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why we see Peterbot, Pollo so regularly engaging, even in situations where they don't need to. But to be fair to Peterbot and Pollo, day one of Grands, they definitely had some struggles with their surge strategy. It seems the way that they've chosen to try and deal with those issues is by making plays to Rift Island, because it's 2 games in a row now that we're seeing Peterbot Pollo actually choosing to go location in comparison to where they were already originally rotating. But at the same time, we've seen so many teams opting to stick around that Rift Island, whether to utilize the rifts for the easy rotates towards next zone and later rotates at that. But regardless of the case, it's definitely helped Peterbot and Pollo more than what it's been a negative against them, even having to deal with a little bit more traffic on that island.
I mean, I'm absolutely with you. I'm just looking at a little update here from Cold and Acorn, who are only 97 above the surge, so they're going to make a quick dash here to the new zone. One of the first teams to actually position up, and I find this to be super interesting that they want to play the bush here. Look at the standings, 37 points separating them from Peterbot and Pollo. And just a quick story about Peterbot. I'll never forget the fact that I came across him at the mall in Copenhagen at the Global Championships, and he had nothing but the worst things to say about all of this EU competition. He is that confident when it comes down to what he's capable of and what he thinks of the general player, not only, you know, across the seas, but around him. He truly believes he is the best in the lobby at all times. Global Championship performance, yeah, you know, it's a different discussion for a different day. Sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're cold. But right now, we're seeing top tier Peterbot.
Yeah, we're also seeing top tier Cold. I mean, that elimination that he just acquired from across the way onto Scissor. Tragic stuff there for Chimp. Not sure if Chimp is still up in the running, but losing Scissor definitely going to be a massive spoiler into his late game strategy. And Cold, even talking about it, ice in his veins, but this man's hands are on fire as he continues to rack up some of the shots. We saw them jump temporarily up to 300 above that damage threshold, and now yet again another dip down, just 73 above. This lobby proving to maintain hyperactivity as far as damage application is concerned. You can see even behind Acorn and Cold, Skater, Dalty. Acorn Cold got to be careful here, but more so Death and Polarizes. They're caught up in a box fight right now with Blake and Macwood.
Curious to see how this is going to work out for them right now. They don't need to rush the fight by any means, but Mira and Cooper are likely to press the engagement here and pressure these walls. And look, the lobby's starting to decide to turn against them as well. You have time to work with, but Polarize gets knocked there. He makes the wrong decision. Death makes the better move to go into the storm. Kanata and Aegis come in and take them down. We've seen Kanata jump into the feet a few times today. Unfortunately, they had a very, very short day one performance, which has kind of left them out of the conversation. They've managed to turn up and find better moments of success here today. Either way, though, more competition falls for Cold and Acorn. Players like Peterbot and Pollo, of course.
And Cold, Acorn, bound to have been able to hear those shots coming out of the boxes behind them. They know Skater, Dalty, they're close. Probably getting the audio cues now from the grapple blades, trying to light Skater up out of the sky and pick him off before he can actually grapple his way above the hill. And now it's going to come down to Cold, to Acorn. 200 damage above, but they still got to make sure that they rotate into a nice position here in zone. You've got Chubbs doing what he can to try and push Cold and Acorn away from him. Small tags into Cold, but he has more than enough shield to work with and more than enough protection here at Hazy Hillside, where the zone has pull towards. Some good elevation now as Cold and Acorn try to hang more towards dead side of zone.
I like this little outskirts spot that they're in, and yeah, just talking about Kanata and Ager's general performance. Look, they're at 317 points, right? Top 10 is around 400, which is 1 win. There's enough games in front of us to put Kanata and Ager's possibly up at the top. It just depends on how they perform, and look at this. They are just playing so exceptionally well in another set of eliminations. And in fact, if you just tally up how well Kanata and Aegis are playing right now, they're trending at around second. If it was just a one-day tournament today, they would be in second. That's just how good they're playing right now, and the points are showing it.
But can they continue to replicate it throughout the course of these remaining matches here today, MDF? Because even if they pull it off in game number 10, they still have 11 and 12 to worry about. Although, with such a veteran team in Kanata and Agers, that sort of experience could be the real difference maker in terms of how successfully they can match their consistency on the day.
Look at this. Look at this base. This is looking like real Chapter 1 vibes right here. Bugha and Aviv with a double ramp out metal base. Back walls, no floors. Very, very reminiscent of early Fortnite day strategy right here. But I'm for it. I'm signed up for it. We haven't seen a team really find success this early in the high ground. In fact, even teams like Clix and Epic Whale, who were going for high ground in Zone 8, have stopped in this round here because all that they've gotten from it is a world of trouble and a lack of material after teams start to contest them. Meanwhile, on the low ground, though, 5 eliminations now for Cold and Acorn as they start to turn on the gas pedal here. Down goes Aaron and Chance, and Cold picks up a double elimination for his troubles here, Taco.
It's the fact that Cold and Acorn, we saw how early on they made their way towards that less congested side of zone. And that positioning is going to be the real completion factor as far as finding those next couple of eliminations. But Bugha, Aviv,
they're up there.
They weren't initially that invested into hype, but recognizing the fact that the zone had pulled relatively favorable for them at the start, now find themselves having to venture forward. They want to make sure that they maintain frontside position on that zone, though. It's going to be tough, though, especially once the grapple comes into play. These teams on the low ground might have the opportunity to just look up.
I like how Peterbot and Poyo are playing this right now. Front side, staying far in ahead here, not looking to get into any enemy territory. Breaking all boxes, playing extremely safe. Just textbook. This is the one thing top tier pros do better, is managing to stay and stick to the basics here, or what's going to allow you to excel. And look at this, reading the zone perfectly. They get the essentially get the next pull here. Meanwhile, Aviv and Bugha on high ground, continuing to put this top-down pressure. Clix and Epic Whale have also elevated themselves up to second height. Are they trying to go for a late game take? It's looking like it could be a potential play there in the books. Don't count them out. But on your screen right now, you are watching the 2 greatest duos in the lobby right now pace ahead.
But Peterbot and Poyo, these are all their pre-existing builds. They've been on the low ground, tarping their way out for so long. Muzz, Paper, they got to be careful not to get themselves fully boxed here. But Peterbot, Poyo, Chance slips away. They're going to have to hold out just a little bit longer for their next opportunity there in the low ground. But Epic, Clix, Epic forced into the med kit now. As he waits for Clix to also look for an opportunity to get a little bit more HP regen. Empen, though, might not have spotted out that Epic Whale's there. Epic Whale just going to finish off that medkit and possibly look for an opportunity for elimination points onto Empen. Empen with no shield, by the way. He's going to try to grapple up through the high ground just to catapult himself to the front side of zone, but immediately Bugha senses that one out, takes Empen down.
Oh, here they go. Acorn and Cold spring their way all the way up to the top and break the bills from underneath Bugha's feet there. In Aviv and high ground is theirs, and they get to reconnect to the old builds. It couldn't work any better for them, but Bugha lurking on the backside here, edging his way in, looking up. Aviv hasn't quite given it up. He didn't want to commit down low just yet, but Bugha makes a call and they have to. And Acorn, Cold come down now. This is their game to win at this point, but they will have to fight for it. Meanwhile, Epic Whale from the zone continuing to heal his way through it here. But Mira and Cooper are still standing there. Taco Cooper's in the zone.
All Epic wants to do is keep a low profile. Every placement counts at this point for him and Clix. But Poyo,
Oh my gosh.
massive shot there onto Sphinx. That's going to be an instant knock.
Right under him.
Can't find Pump though just yet. Instead, Poyo's got to keep his eyes focused on what's directly in front of him. This mid-ground, not safe
There's a player
just
behind
yet.
him. Oh, he doesn't even know there's a player behind him, but it doesn't matter. He finds Aviv here, who gives up the high ground. The zone takes down Poyo before he can earn more points, which is so unfortunate. Bugha's already down. Aviv on the low ground here. Player falls in and also gets eliminated to the storm there. And just like that, Aviv gets granted with some mats, but it's Cold and Acorn who will surely take this win right now and break away with a monstrous lead.
And this is the kind of breakaway that might just be devastating to all of our other teams inside of that top 5 currently, because Acorn and Cold, the way that they overshot Aviv and Bugha to forcibly remove the high ground from them, we saw Aviv desperate to try and hold on, but it was just too much pressure. Acorn and Cold absolutely recognizing the fact, hey, high ground's distracted, and the fact that they could pounce upon it so quickly as well. Like the attempt though from Quanti. Just not gonna be enough.
You know, he really did try, but take a look here. Acorn does hit the shot there in the end. A 9 elimination victory royale is just incredible, especially when you